What's going on, vinyl community? It's Wes here from psychrocklive, and I'm back with another video today. As you can see by the screen, we're doing the same setup as we did in the last video. We're doing another album ranking, but this time we're going to do Steely Dan. But before anything else is said, I just want to bring up something that's pretty big in the vinyl community right now, and it is our good buddy Eric Weinbender. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. I'm not great at last names. But it seems that he was in a pretty serious car crash not too long ago. I'm sure some of you guys who watch me watch him for sure. But it's a time to really support him in the vinyl community, and he needs to earn some money from medical bills and whatever. But I just wanted to give him a shout out and publicly say that we all hope you feel better and everything gets better. But I also want to tackle the issue of he has a GoFundMe started for him. I'm not entirely sure who started it, probably a family member. But lots of people are donating. Lots of people have seen it. So we're trying to raise the money for him. I heard about this from Melinda Murphy, another channel I watch in the VC. But from now on, I'm just going to keep linking his channel and his GoFundMe in the description, just so everybody's on the same page. So if you're looking for it, you can find him and the GoFundMe if you're feeling generous enough to help this guy out in the description. But without further ado, let's get into the Steely Dan albums ranking. Now, the last one I did was Grateful Dead, and this one's funny because there's even less albums here to rank than the Grateful Dead. I mean, we have just a small handful of albums to rank. But this is an interesting one because it's really hard to pick these albums apart because they're so absolutely fantastic all around. You know what I mean? So simply, I'm gonna get the low hanging fruit out of the way first. Let me take a sip of beverage here. All right, this is easy. I think that's fair. All right, I'm gonna drop the bomb. It's pretty hard to argue with Asia being their best album, production-wise, studio musician-wise. One of my favorite things about Asia is that it's an extremely concise album. Just a few tracks, maybe, 7 or 8 songs, something like that. Could be wrong. I can't remember. I could tell you all the songs on, but I couldn't tell you how many because I can't count in my head like that. It's just not how my brain works. But either way, very concise, clean album with possibly the best production I've ever heard really on an album ever, or at least from the 70s. But let's not discredit here the Royal Scam, and I think these albums are extremely neck and neck with each other, because there is no doubt that the Royal Scam is an absolutely fantastic album. I mean, it features just tons and tons of good songs, even deep cuts that are just fantastic. Don't Take Me Alive, The Fez, Green Earrings. I mean, these are absolutely killer Steely Dan songs that I think get overlooked by its probably superior Asia, but I think that's where I'm going to leave those. I think that those albums are so good that they're going to kind of just lock themselves up in that best tier. I mean, I really could say so many albums by Steely Dan, but as far as the best of the best goes, these two albums really stand out for me. So we're going to leave them there. And now the awesome category is, well, I mean, come on. This is, obviously that goes there. Countdown to Ecstasy is awesome. Man, see, this is where it gets really difficult. I would say Katie Lied's awesome. But, it's a really difficult thing here because, I mean, I could put almost all these. Pretzel Logic is also awesome, but they can't all occupy here because I really have to rank the albums individually. So, unfortunately, I think I'm going to move Pretzel Logic down one. I would say that this is a pretty decent list. And Katie Lied is a really good album, but I'm also I'm thinking about moving that down just because if you compare Gaucho and Katie Lied, I think I said that right. I'm not sure. But I don't know. To me, this album feels stronger. So definitely, at least if they're on the same tier, it deserves to be in the first place position. But I don't know. I mean, I think that there's this era when you compare Don't Buy a Thrill, or I'm sorry, Can't Buy a Thrill, and Countdown to Ecstasy. I got those names mixed up. I think that's like that early sound of Steely Dan. They have that kind of a little bit drier, more early 70s production. And the production kind of sounds like James Gang a little bit in these first early albums. But then once you hit like Katie Lied and stuff, that's when I really think you start to get that kind of fat, good punch bass Steely Dan that we all know that is really prominent on like Asia and especially Gaucho. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I feel like that's fair. I'm not discrediting Pretzel Logic. It's still in the great category, but as far as just a listening through experience, I feel like these albums are just a little, this is definitely a more ambitious album than something like this. This just has so many good songs, and this has that groove that starts to build that foundation of Steely Dan as we know it. Like Daddy Don't Live in New York City No More, or whatever that title is called. And Black Friday. You know what I mean? Just it's fantastic songs on some of these albums. And to me, this one just lacks just a hair. This is such a difficult thing because I truly love every single one of their albums. Obviously, there's nothing live here. But it's tough. It's really tough. So let's wrap up here. I'm going to say the only ones in the decent category are these two. They're new efforts, the newest things of Steely Dan. I dig these albums a lot, and I think they have a lot of great songs. And I actually just recently listened to them again to make this video, just so I'm fresh on all the albums. But I think that you can't compare these to their classic era of albums. You know what I mean? Just not saying that they're bad at all, because they're great, and they have fantastic production once again, something that Steely Dan is just so known for at this point. But when you are a band and you're making these follow-up albums years and years later after a breakup or an extremely long break, it is really, really hard to just get that same sound, and I can't really think of any band who has successfully done it. Even like bands that have made the same type of music for years and years, like AC/DC, just still can't quite sell the comeback albums because they have made such a classic era of their music. And that leaves us at Can't Buy a Thrill, and I'm actually going to put this in the good. And here's why. It just isn't quite the Steely Dan we know. It's not quite the same. I mean, it's the same band, but it's not quite the same thing. And it was really before the studio musician shit really took off. And I think it's a great album. I think there's a lot of good songs. But to me, that Can't Buy a Thrill is just a classic rock album. And then you have these, mammoth Steely Dan albums, like these kind of 5 albums right here. And to me, I just can't even really compare those two. And I would even possibly say that one's in the good. But, I mean, this is what I mean. Just look at the list. I mean, none of these are bad. There's no bad. It's all good. But in all honesty, I think this is the fairest way I could rank Steely Dan's albums. So, that's it. That was easy. That was short, sweet, and painless, pretty much, because they're all fantastic. And there's not that many of them. Go ahead and tell me your list in the comments. Last time I made a ranking video, which was my last video, everybody was so into it, and we had a fantastic time talking about the stuff, and I'd love to see other people's ranks. So, yeah, this is one I feel like a lot of people in the VC could get on board with. So I'm going to go ahead and end here, and I'll be back very, very soon with another ranking video that I know you guys are going to like. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.